Some new footage of the Uvalde shooting just got released last week, so I'm gonna react to it and give a little commentary on that situation. I've done a couple videos on this topic, but I'm gonna just do some more. Give you a couple of new thoughts that I have. I'm gonna lower it down because I don't need to hear. They ain't saying nothing. Um, you know, during this massacre, a lot of parents showed up. You know, they was willing to go in there unarmed because when the things a person would do for someone they love, the reason and logic that goes out the window. You know, your livelihood goes out the window. For somebody that you really love, you'll do anything. You know, you'll go crazy. You see all these guys here with body armor, rifles. Some of them have Kevlar like headgear, gas masks, everything, all the kind of protection, numbers. But yet, it ain't their loved ones really in there. I think there was one guy who had a wife as a teacher, and he didn't do anything. And man, he must have not loved her, or he loved his own life more than he loved her. But majority of these people, they didn't step up. And I think the main problem we have now in society is we don't have any community anymore, and we as a society have almost been detached from society. Like when you go to the grocery store, do you go to like a local grocery store in your local neighborhood where you grew up, and you know the person behind the counter, you know everybody there, and you know them by name, they know you by name? Or do you go to one of the big box stores and you do self-checkout, or if not self-checkout, you do the pickup? You know, you buy through the app and you just pick up. You know, you don't talk to anybody. And in all likelihood, the most of us live in a society that we don't talk to anybody on a daily basis. You don't talk to your mailman or mail carrier person. You don't talk to, I don't know, like anytime you order any kind of food, fast food, sometimes you just might order through an app. I went to Taco Bell the other day, and I went inside, and now they have this like this, you know, like an iPad system, and you just order your own food. You don't have to talk to anybody. And I think that is creating a society of not caring for others, not caring for strangers. Because, I don't know, and when you don't care for the people around you, would you risk your life for a stranger? Probably not. Look at all these guys. They're not risking their lives for to save kids that ain't their kids, you know? Why would they? They're at the end of the day, you know, they'll sleep all right, you know? Well, it wasn't my kid. Oh, well, another day at the office, you know? But if it was somebody that, you know, you had an attachment to, because as a society, we have a strong bond that, like, oh no, that's so and so kid. Like I'll give you more example. Police officers used to walk a beat. You know, even here, like locally, I live in a somewhat small town. Police officers used to walk the neighborhoods, patrol, just walking. They used to know police officers by name. You know, they knew you, you knew them. Nowadays, I don't really know any law enforcement like that. I know of a couple from when I used to work at the cigar bar, but I haven't seen them in I don't know how many years. It's been a minute. But growing up, we used to know police officers like by name and everything. They knew you, you knew them. We used to know just different members of the community. I still remember my mail carrier, my mailman. I had two. There was Mac. He used to do the mail service for when I lived on 39th Street, and George when I lived on 63rd Street as a kid. I knew him when I was 6 years old. I would wait for the mail and be like, "Hey George," you know, because he would give me a pencil. A lot of times he would give me a pencil or a candy, and not just me. He would give it to all the kids. All the kids knew him as a person. It was like, "Hey George," you know, we would see him, and we had like a community. You would know people in your town that weren't your own relatives. You know, that's gone nowadays. Everybody, it's like almost introverted. We don't talk to one another. We're like so fast paced. We're stuck in our own little circle, and our circles are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. That we don't really socialize with anyone and build community, ties or bonds. And I think that leads to things like this, where ain't nobody risking their lives for a stranger. Like I just covered on my last video a case of a father whose son died from being malnutrition. He starved to death. The child starved to death. There was video evidence of this kid begging his dad for food. He was begging for bread, and like a couple of days later, he died of starvation. And the child got found. I mean, the dad got found not guilty. The mother the girlfriend got found guilty, but he didn't for some reason, even though they lived in the same household. And I said, society will go on. Nobody cares about that little kid, It used to be, we're gonna get our justice, You better hope that the court finds you guilty, because if not, the streets would, Nowadays, ain't nobody in the streets doing anything for nobody. Like I said, I mentioned Casey Anthony got away with it, killed her baby. Out now, still at the bar scene, living her life to the fullest. Got some lots of money too, because she's been doing interviews. And her baby, died, and ain't nobody doing anything for that baby. Again, why would you? It's not your blood. You got no ties to that kid. Why would you jeopardize your life trying to get justice for somebody that it's not in your circle? That's how we are as a community. Ain't nobody trying to get justice for strangers. That's why every now and then when law enforcement does kill somebody and it's not just, or they do something that's not just, and there is a mass protest, that still shocks me to this day, because to get people to protest for somebody who's not their relative or who's a nobody to them. Well, I'll give the George Floyd case. The that let's look at this. They're putting all these stretchers. That still shocks me. The George Floyd case, that the community gathered behind him, and George Floyd was basically like a nobody, and the community protested, and people protested for different reasons, because a lot of times people just hate cops, so they just need a reason to protest. But it's still, I'm still proud that we still stand up as a community when certain unjust things are happening. But George Floyd, that's like a minority. Like, there's police brutality all over the U.S., and a lot of times nobody does anything. If it didn't get recorded, or it's, I don't know, if it doesn't make headlines, it's swept under the rug, and nothing is done. Let me listen to see what they're talking about. No, they ain't doing nothing. They're just wasting time. Yeah. So again, if you're a nobody, I'm a nobody. I don't expect anybody to do anything for me. People will do something for a celebrity. Like, let me talk about Selena. If her killer Yolanda were to come free, or get out of jail or prison, I have no doubt in my mind that one of Selena's fans would, even though it's been over almost like 30 years, one of Selena's fans would do something, Or I think she's, if she's still alive. I don't know if her killer's still alive. She might be dead, But let's say she was alive. They would do something, because that passion of the love for a celebrity, But when it's for a stranger, nobody does anything. It's just like, whatever, Oh well, what a tragedy. Okay, we move on. Yeah. So, and this is just the beginning. We're gonna become more detached from society as technology advances. It's gonna get to the point that on your day-to-day habits, your day-to-day, life habits, you're probably not gonna interact with anybody, and the people that you do interact, it'll be just bare minimums, just business. You'll pick up your grocery store, your groceries without talking to anybody. You'll go out to eat without talking to anybody. You'll connect all your business without talking to people. And again, and the people you do talk to, it's business. Like, it used to be when you go out to a restaurant, the waiter or waitress would be friendly and not just bring you your food. There would be something like, "Hey, how's it going? First time here? Okay. Where are you from? Oh, okay. Oh, cool. That's awesome. Or I'm a local. I'm from here. Do you need more time on the menu? I can give you some recommendations. Since it's your first time here. All right." And then, bring your food. How is it? How long you staying in? Or you just moved here? Oh, well, welcome to the neighborhood. This and that. And I hope you come back. My name is this and that. What's your name? Okay, cool. I hope to see you again. You build that relationship with that server. Nowadays, there's just, what would you like to drink? All right, here you go. Boom. There's minimal conversation. There's no more. I don't know. Like, we don't talk. And not just with that. Like I said, even if you do go to like a grocery store, where it's not fully automated yet. The person who's checking you out, they're not trying to talk. They don't care. They're just, you're just in and out. They're just doing their job. Again, I still remember going to my neighborhood grocery store, and the person working by there, I still know a couple of them. One of them, his name is Jafar, and he does a grocery store on 39th. And they would talk to you. Hey man, what's going on, man? What you been up to? Oh, okay, cool. You make like small talk, and would still just, I don't know, just have like a little conversation. Again, that's all gone with automation and online school and everything online, everything. I don't know. The human factor, and I think that leads to stuff like this. Not just you cowardness with law enforcement, because I don't, I do call them cowards, but because they are cowards. They got all that equipment, and look, what are you hiding? Look at this idiot. Why are you hiding behind? Look, oh my God. So they are cowards. They are untrained. But worst of all, they don't care, because forget the training, forget that. If you cared, you would do something. If you cared, you would bust down that door and risk it all with whatever you have. But these people don't care. It's not their kids. Why would I risk my life for a kid that ain't mine? Yeah, so if you're a nobody, and chances are you are a nobody, just think about that. Who's gonna come to your rescue if you need help? In all likelihood, nobody. This is why also you see I don't know, like veterans being homeless or not helped with government. Who cares about them? Especially a lot of veterans don't have anybody, and they just get lost in the system. There's I don't know, people living on the streets. Nobody cares about them. How many homeless people do you pass up on a daily basis? I walked here to work, and I passed up. Let me think. I passed up one guy sleeping next to a church. I passed another person sleeping in the cemetery. Another one walking by the cemetery. Actually, about 3 people near the cemetery. And one person was sleeping in the church. Another person sleeping over here. It was on 21st Street. So on my walk to work, I passed 5 homeless people. And I can't help nobody because I'm poor. But that's kind of my excuse, because I'm poor. But if I was wealthy, I could do something. But do wealthy people give a damn about helping homeless people? No, not really. Or helping anybody? Nah, no, it's not. Why? Why would you care? It looks like it's gonna be all grainy. Yeah, everybody's for themselves, man. Every person is for themselves. I've shown a couple of videos on here, and I think that I titled it, "It's Every Man for Himself," of a person getting murdered and people not helping out. An elderly person just got shot and robbed, broad daylight, and instead of people helping them out, people who came by, like one person just saw it and just shook his head and kept on walking. Didn't call for police or anything, just kept, whatever. Other people came by, saw the guy dead, and robbed him. They're like, "Oh, let me go through his pockets," and walked off. People don't care about anybody. Again, it's every person for themselves. And my theory is we lost it as a society. I mean, yesterday yeah, yesterday morning, because now it's Monday. Yesterday morning, Sunday morning, I walk everywhere. My car's out of commission, or my truck's out of commission. I walk everywhere. I walked by a church, and I was actually happy. Like, I'm not religious, but I was actually happy to see families still going to church, because that still kind of builds some community, you know. Um, that was, I was like, man, that's nice to see people getting together, you know, and bonding. But churches, religious services, that's going away too. Uh, and people who do go, I do know people who do this online. They'll watch stuff like Joel Osteen, or some other stuff, televangelist, instead of going to an actual service. And I think that's also kind of destroying it, you know, because when you go to an actual, I used to go to church as a kid, and I would see fellow classmates at at church, see, you know, relatives at church. Yeah, you come there as a community, you know, fellow people from the neighborhood. Uh, you know, everybody. It's again, it builds community. It makes the community stronger. Everybody comes, and it's a meet and greet, you know. But that's dying. I did go to church. I think it was last year. I had a lot of friends pass away, and I was like, well, uh, I just went, and it was empty. I mean, there was people there, but it wasn't like what it used to be in the '90s. In the '90s, there was no. If you didn't come early to church, you would have to stand in the back. That's how crowded it used to be. Nowadays, you could come 30 minutes late. It's still empty. It's empty. You can sit in the front. It's so empty. Again, I'm not religious at all, and but I appreciate the community, that at least that aspect of it, and what do we have now? I think part of the reason, something that we do have that I kind of don't like, but it does bring community, is political rallies. But that to a point, because political rallies, like a Trump rally that he has, or maybe like a Kamala rally, whatever, that might bring some people out, but that's a one-off, you know. Something that's weekly, like gatherings of the community. I don't know of anything that we do have that's still like that. Not just okay, so we don't have anything weekly, and we don't have daily routines of this. All right, let me take another break. Let me listen to what they're saying, because. All right, I'm gonna mute it again. I think one thing in regards to law enforcement, I think one thing law enforcement should do is they should, if you're in law enforcement, you should know the community that you're in. You know the neighborhood. You could be like, hey, who do you know that lives on this street? Oh yeah, I know Mrs. Robertson, and old man Tim over here. He stays right there. You know, how many people in the community do you know that that aren't in your family or in your circle, like strangers. How many strangers in your community do you know and do you check up on? You know, most police officers, it ain't like what it used to be. They don't. They stay in their car. They kind of hide. They're on their phone and they're just waiting. They're not walking around like the neighborhood, you know, saying hi, waving to people. When they go to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, picking like regular spots, knowing the staff, knowing local business owners. That's kind of gone, you know. Some might do it, but as a rule of principle, you know, like no, it's not a thing. Again, like I said, I try to stay active in the community. I don't know any law enforcement, and how do you expect you to have it's just the community to have law enforcement's back if we're so detached from each other? And also, how does the community expect law enforcement to have our backs if we're detached? It's a lose-lose. You know, it's kind of like what I'm talking about is what small towns used to be. You know, in certain small towns, there's this is the problem too. You know, and small. So this problem that I'm bringing up, it's not a big city problem. It's a big cities and small towns, because I can guarantee you, you go to a small town, they have Walmarts there, they have big box stores, and again, it's automated. It's none of that mom and pop stores; those are gone. You know, that locally owned, not by these big corporations where from who knows where. They now every other restaurant is a McDonald's or you know, Whataburger or whatever. It's not. It's a chain. The local restaurants owned by like families, that's dying. And with all these national chains, you have people working in there that are in and out. They'll be in there a few weeks, a few months, and then they're off to the next job. It's not, so you kind of can't build community ties with somebody who's not going to be there, you know, for long, versus a family-owned and operated restaurant. Man, like my family, we have a family-owned and operated restaurant, and for over 30 years, so we still kind of have some ties. That's a small amount of community. We're a dying breed, but I could sit in there and drink my coffee when I'm not doing anything, and I'll know a good amount of customers from since I was a kid. They've been loyal, you know. But that's dying, you know. That's not going to be a thing in the future. It's all chains, and it's all new employees, and it's automation. And the repercussions is we're seeing it, that when a crime happens, we don't do anything about it. I remember this lady got murdered down the street from where I live, and but maybe about 8 city blocks away from where I live, she was stabbed to death, and it was just you know, nobody cared. Nobody really tried to find the killer. There was like some footage of the killer and whatever. And I'm like, man, we're not coming as a community to get justice for this person, you know, who this elderly person who was stabbed to death. Nah, nobody, just whatever, you know. It wasn't me. She didn't have any family, so or any family locally, so nobody kind of cared. And I don't know, like I think the killer did get caught, but he never got charged for that crime. From what I heard, a couple of years later, or sometime later, I'm gonna stop this. I guess the video ended. It was a bunch of nothing. Sometime later, he ended up killing somebody else, and he got charged with that murder. And they suspected him that he might have killed that lady, but they just, you know, he was never. Police had him as a suspect. They never charged him, and he ended up killing somebody else, and they got him for that case. Yeah, if you want to look up the case, it was this elderly person who was killed at the Alcohol Anonymous building on 33rd Street here in Galveston, Texas. So you know I'm not BSing you. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think. That society we're detached, and it's only gonna get worse with technology and just everything. And if you're an older person, you might agree that it used to be different back in the day. I mean, I grew up in the '90s, so I was like at the very end of like right before technology started changing. But I'm pretty sure way back in the day, you knew everybody. Like I used to work with this guy on the waterfront. He's in his 50s. And every time we go out to eat, I tell him, man, you know everybody. Because every time we would go out to eat, he shakes about like a dozen hands, you know. And he goes, yeah, man, I know everybody. Because the older people are, they had those community ties, you know. But younger people, it's a different story, you know. So older people, they could tell you, man, that they knew who the milkman was. They knew who the paper delivery boy was. They would know your local baker, like I said, the local law enforcement, even local politicians. They probably knew him by name. Nowadays, you can ask in your own town who's the mayor in your town, and most people will be like, I don't know who the mayor is. You know, who's your city councilman? You know, name anybody in office. You know, they probably don't know anybody. They don't know who the congressperson is, senator, anybody. And I understand bigger offices, but locally, you don't know who the local mayor is. No, because that person's not in the community. Yeah, but there was a time where everybody knew everybody, even not in the small towns. Like I said, I live in a town of 50,000 people. Now it's 50,000 people, but on a weekend, on a really big weekend, we balloon up to over 500,000 people. Especially if it's Mardi Gras, biker rally. There's certain weekends that it just balloons through the roof. But yet, a large portion of the people know. They used to know everybody, but now that's gone, and I don't know. We'll see how the future is. It'll probably be, you know, everyone. We'll probably be like almost like robots or something, of unaffectionate towards our fellow human being.